The time is exactly 12 after 9 o'clock. Welcome to the second hour of News and Views right here on Salam Media. And we are now going to be having a very important discussion, alternative narratives of being a man, what it means to be a man in this day and age. And I think this is a discussion that is long overdue, because for the past while we've been focusing on the girl child. And in the process, I firmly believe we've neglected the boy child here in South Africa. So to talk to us about this very important discussion is Gaontebale Nodoba. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have spoken with him in the past, so I should know the name. He's head of the Professional Communication Unit and a lecturer in the School of Management Studies. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Julie, and to the viewers and listeners of Salam Media.
Thank you
Assalamu
for
alaikum.
being Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, you are a UCT academic and a BC activist as well. What does BC stand for?
Black consciousness.
Ah, I should have known that. I should have
I
known
got,
that.
I got you on this one, Julie.
You did. I admit so. Right. The narrative, the alternative narratives of being a man. We do know that every year without fail come the 16 days of no violence against women and children. There's huge focus on the protection and the rights of women and children. And GBV has been doing its rounds forever and a day, and nothing has changed. In fact, I think the situation seems to be worsening. So, talk to us about what this is going to mean, what these discussions look like, what is the age group you target, and will there and is there follow up when you start these conversations?
Thank you very much, Julie. Look, I'm very happy with your preamble to then say the focus has always been, and it is, on the girl child. Nothing wrong to focus on the girl child. Nothing wrong to focus on women, because these are people that suffer the consequences of gender-based violence. These are survivors. However, we and my colleague and her team, Dr. Kimonilwe Metsing, who's an educational psychologist working for the Department of Education in the Gauteng province, specifically attached to the Johannesburg North District and in the education support. So the data that came through the work that she does with students at high school level, mostly grades 9, grade 10, 11, and then they go to grade 12. So you can guess more or less what the ages are. Now, we are then saying these are people that are youth that tomorrow will become older youth, and then they'll become adults. Now, these are people that are neglected, Julie, and listeners and viewers of Salam Media. As we focus on the girl child, as we try to protect the girl child against the scourge of GBVF, we neglect the boy child. Now, the boy child is this one who is socialized alongside particular values that are not helpful. They grow up into adults, and then they end up inevitably be the ones that become perpetrators of this very same GBV. So we felt, get the basics right, focus on the root cause, go there, look at what is amiss, look at where we are losing it. And one of the things that we have picked up, me and my colleague, is that the socialization process is the problem. How we socialize the boy child is a problem. That's why we speak about alternative narratives towards being a man, because the current narratives that we have are actually victimizing the very same boy child, because they are entrenched in patriarchy. And that is not helpful, because the boy child gets socialized, growing up to believe that he can get away with everything, but also he also grows up with a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of suffocation with things not said, things that are not learned. For instance, the boy child is not being taught how to love Therefore, they are unable to give love when they grow up later on. Some of them grow without fathers. They've got no one to aspire to. They've got no role models. As a result, all these bottled emotions that are not brought out by the boy child, when they get socialized, whether by the male person in the family or the female person in the family, they are told that don't be a crybaby, right? Don't behave like a girl. Man it up. Now that is the expression. Man it up.
Men
Now
don't
these are
cry. Men don't cry.
you see, and there is a problem, Julie. Now, we in the workshop that we had with the boys in Masikulume Indoda, we say to them, men need to know it's okay not to be okay. Men need to know it's okay to talk about feelings, not to suffocate and suppress their feelings. Men need to know, Julie, that it is okay to ask for help.
Okay,
It
let me
is
come in here. Let me come in here. I asked you the question as well about the target age group that you addressed. Um, we also need to then explore the issue of an adult or adult males who are now perpetrators. How
yeah,
are we going to remedy that? That's a huge problem. And then also, the one thing that you've touched on, and it is so crucial, and that is that boys aren't taught that being able to talk about your vulnerabilities is part of transforming the self because of socialization. It's an offset of patriarchy. This doesn't allow them to speak about all of that. It's almost as if men men think it's a sissy thing to go for counseling or
yeah.
therapy. I'm a man, I ought to be strong, I'm able to handle it. I can't go and talk to a woman or another male counselor about my issues. He or she is going to judge me.
Yeah.
Thus, we have so very many broken men in our society. How can we expect the society to be whole?
You see, exactly, Julie. I mean, you have just touched a raw nerve in the sense that exactly. Now, you see, Julie, that's why we say in a conversation with the boy child, Masikhulume Ndoda, we say the problem is actually us, members of society. We are our own worst enemies because through the process of socialization, we basically, for lack of a better expression, I can say we are basically disadvantaging the boy child and by extension the girl child. And I'll explain. But maybe let me first go to the issue that you raised about adult men who are broken, adult men who are perpetrators of GBV. How do we help them? How do we deal with the situation? We are saying there are many interventions. We are only but one of the intervention. And we believe that if all these interventions work together, we will be able to solve the problems. The adult men already, there are organizations already of civil society. You might call them NGOs. I know of one from Limpopo province called Monandinyi, who is a man? What
Mm,
is a man?
mm.
And it addresses adult men while we are addressing your 15, 16, 18, 19, 20-year old, which is from grade 9 to grade 12, grade 11, right? We then say this can work in sync, right? What we have done with our approach, Julie, we have said after we've talked and we've gone through the workshop, we had what we call a safe space where we allowed the boy child to talk about their vulnerabilities. Phase two is as they go out to train the others in their schools together with their life orientation teachers. We then phase two is for us now, I think in the month of November, we're going to meet with the parents whose
Ah,
children attended that workshop. Some of them might be caregivers, not necessarily their parents. We are going to have a workshop with them now. And now then we are going to talk to the adult. And that's where we are going to confront the elephant in the room. One, socialization. to values in the family. The value systems themselves, are they, people speak about let's go back to values, but we need to look critically at our values, the value system. How are they assisting the boy child? How are they assisting the family as a unit? Are the values that we have today making the family to disintegrate, or are they unifying the family? Are they making the family to become that unit of society that becomes at the center of societal development, the nucleus, right? And we believe something is wrong with the nucleus, Julie, because parents have got a tendency to outsource their parenting responsibility to schools. And schools are not equipped to do that. Educators are overwhelmed, right? We know government with all its problems, and I don't want to go there. There are a lot of things that are not happening. And we believe that you can't then overburden a school system that is itself struggling. So our intervention, a conversation with a boy child, Masikhulume Indoda, is meant to be holistic, to say we've done with the boys, we've talked with them, and we'll continue talking, maturing them, mentoring them, but we need to talk to their parents, right? And raise critical issues. And also, Julie, stop this thing of the single narrative, the single story of you don't behave like a sissy and whatever. We want alternative narratives. We want to hear the parents. We have heard the boy child. We bring the two together, and then we say, how can we take the synergy forward to be able to produce a society that is self-reflective, a society that is inward looking, and a society that is solution oriented. That is our approach that we have adopted, Julie.
Okay. We also understand that some of the stories that emerged in this workshop included that of a young boy who said that he doesn't see the need to speak with a therapist, something I raised a little earlier with you.
Okay.
Men seem and boys think that it's almost a thing that sissies do. Real men don't engage with therapists, or real men don't need that type of support. So they don't talk with friends, family, or they don't even approach their elders, because they firmly believe it won't help. They've just got a block towards that thinking, resulting in the only way for them to address the pain they're going through is through drugs and alcohol. Hold that thought. Let's just go to a comment here on screen. Can you bring it up for me? And it is from, oh, I think this is from your colleague, Dr. Momi Metsing. Besides boys or men not wanting to go for therapy, there is also evidence that many boys or men lack the vocabulary to express their feelings. It's all because boys and men are taught to toughen up. Everything we have already touched. Thank you indeed, Dr. Metsing, for sharing those thoughts as well. It is so, so crucial. And the other thing that you also touched on just now was absent parents. I mean, the
Yeah.
parents could still be in the same household, but emotionally be very absent from that child, don't connect with the children. So, your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah. Julie, I'm very thankful for Dr. Metzing for her input to say this idea of toughen up. It is the danger or the challenge of the single narrative that we speak about. That's why we need to have alternative narratives where we say men need to know and boys need to know it's okay to need support. It's okay to be vulnerable. And it's okay to go for therapy. And finally, to cry. Now, Julie, the issue that generally you have raised, we talked about loneliness. There is a book that I once read titled The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Right?
Oh,
Runners are running a marathon. They are all there, they are together. But the thoughts of the runner are all by himself or herself. That's why talks about the loneliness of the long distance runner. Now, in the family, what the advent of technology has done among other things, and the outsourcing of responsibility, and also the challenges of the singular narrative, is to have people who are together in the same household, but they are lonely because there is no communication. There is no vocabulary, like Dr. Metzing has pointed out. The vocabulary, the words that we can use to express ourselves. Now, someone need to become what we call the catalyst, Julie. Now, those that do the natural sciences will know that a catalyst is a chemical component that either speeds up or slows down a chemical reaction without itself undergoing any change. Now, parents, by virtue of their parental responsibility, they should take the lead. They should initiate discussions. They should initiate discourses and talks with children. And in the workshop that we're going to have with parents, we are going to share with them strategies of how they can start to initiate that. The kind of games that you can play, board games with your children, with words and vocabulary and so on, to encourage that camaraderie, to encourage that interaction, right? So that we don't have that kind of loneliness. The other problem, Julie, that we've seen, and we've shared with the learners in the workshop, a very powerful poster that says men need to know it's okay, and then we bring all these other issues to cry and so on. The issue that we pointed out and that the learners talked to us about is the issue of the absent father, or what we call in economic terms, the issue of the father deficit. There is no father in the family. Now, when we will be sharing with parents, one of the things that we'll be talking about is to specifically address and drill into this issue of father deficit or absent father, to then say, what is the alternative? All right. So in Masikhulume Ndoda, a conversation with a boy child, we don't just identify the problem and cry about it. We say, this is the issue, diagnose the problem, then say, what can be done? Let us hear the people that are actually experiencing this, and then let us then synthesize and come with an outcome. And we believe that the solution to absent father and father deficit is the concept known as the social father.
We
How,
have
as
to,
we,
unfortunately, we're running out of time. We have to leave it there. Um, just two things, and I'd like a quick answer to that, if you don't mind.
okay,
If you have a broken father, a father that has gone through the system, he himself was a victim of his circumstances, how is he going to be able to raise a strong boy child or boy children? And then how do we work with that broken father who might be 40 or 50 years old? Is there still hope for him? Short answer, please. And we need to pick up on this conversation. It is very important.
yeah.
We need to ventilate it as far and wide as possible.
No, very simple one, Julie. The second phase that we are in, to talk to these broken fathers. These broken fathers, through socialization, they have been suffocated. They never ate their frustration. So we're going to create a platform where they're going to talk to us. Let us find out what is the source of their misery, and we take it from there. Then there is a referral, right? Dr. Metzing and her colleagues in psychology and so on. But also we've got organizations like Munna Dingi and others who work with
Mhm.
these things, who can then assist them to try and rehabilitate them. So I'm saying, because of time, is a very short kind of answer. But we are saying, in Masikhulume Ndoda, when we meet with parents, we're going to afford them the space, the safe space, to be able now to talk and open up, because they've been suffocated, just like the boy child is suffocated. So that's what we are moving towards. That's why we speak about alternative narratives for being a man.
Great initiative. I'm going to follow you guys. Gaontebale Nodoba, always a pleasure talking with you. And lots more long conversations to be had on this situation. My regards to, of course, Dr. Metzing as well for this sterling piece of work. Keep us in your prayers. Keep safe and God bless.
Thank you very much, Julie. Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum to you.
Malaikum salam.
9:32 on News and Views right here on Salam Media, and we still have two more interviews to get through to, so please do stay with us. Standing by to talk with us next is Loiso Toyiya, chairperson of the District Community Forum.